अभी हम जा रहे हैं लंदन से। सॉरी लिवरपूल। ऊपर वाला व्यू नहीं नजर आए।
Rose, there's nothing for Jack. Not over it, really not. If you need anything at all, I have my favourite stocks available today. You have Josh, my fellow colleagues at the back there waiting at you. He'll be downstairs if you need him at all, an audio guide. If you need anything, we've got some headphones downstairs if you want to listen to me. 25 languages available. Speak to Josh if you need one of those. But guys, also another important message, this is the only place in London you can wave at people and get the response you want. 22 bridges you're going to pass under me, 22 opportunities to wave at people here in London. If you wave at your colleagues later on, they will wave back, but they'll use one or two fingers. I'm sure you can work out which fingers. Hello on the bridge! Hi! Hello! Oh, I feel like a celebrity. But welcome to the city of Westminster, and to your right hand side there you have the largest palace in the United Kingdom. That is the new palace of Westminster, called the new palace because there was once an old palace. Guys, on the upper deck you need to sit down. There is one seat here. Called the new palace because there was once an old palace. That was until 1834 when the Exchequer at the time, the man in charge of the money, decided to build some wooden towers underneath the floorboards of the House of Lords. He ended up burning the building down to the ground. This one was built in its place. It is built by Charles Bailey in a neo-Gothic style. And it is home to the government of the United Kingdom though, so we call it the Houses of Parliament. So, two debating chambers inside, two houses. You have the House of Commons, the House of Lords. House of Commons, they are democratically elected officials voted in by citizens of the United Kingdom. You have the House of Lords, they are appointed by the monarch based on their wisdom. I will say no more on that. We have a simple coloured system to keep these two houses separate. You can see there on the embankment there. Those two awnings extension of the dining areas. Anything that's red is going to be for the House of Lords. Anything that's green is for the House of Commons. Directly in front of us, Lambeth Bridge, that's red, that's the roadway entrance for the House of Lords. Westminster Bridge, we just went underneath it, it's green, that's the roadway entrance for the House of Commons. It is a simple system, guys, to stop corruption. Once again, I say no more on that. Now, as you do a bit of a U-turn here, directly in front of us now, you have the Royal College of Nursing, established by Florence Nightingale after she returned from the Boer War. Florence Nightingale is known as the mother of nursing. It is because of her that we have simple systems in our hospitals, such as the ward system and general cleanliness. These fantastical ideas never existed before the Boer War. She established the Royal College of Nursing here, meaning that any nurse that trains here is still known as a Nightingale in her honour. But now we're going to go back to the Houses of Parliament now on your right-hand side there. 3 distinct towers. The one towards the back of the boat, singular flagpole, that's the Victoria Tower. The largest of the 3 is the Archival Tower. Every single law that's passed here in Britain is stored in that tower. Every single ballot paper from every single general election is stored in that tower. It is the Archival Tower, so it's the only fully fireproof part of the tower. And it's also the monarch's entrance. Once again, to stop corruption and collusion, the king can only enter through the Victoria Tower. The central one, called the Central Tower, is basically a chimney, lets out all the hot air from Parliament, and there's plenty of that these days. And then perhaps the world's most famous clock tower there, that is the Elizabeth Clock Tower. Named after Queen Elizabeth in 2012 for a jubilee, it houses the 13.5-ton bell known as Big Ben. Yes, we call the bell Big Ben, not the tower. But why do we call it Big Ben? Well, Sir Benjamin Hall was the man who was commissioned to build that part of the tower. He wasn't very nice to his workers, was very large, round, very loud. One day when this 13.5-ton bell showed up on site, the workers took one look at it and said, that's large, round, seems to be very loud, let's call it Ben. That's where the name comes from. It's an insult to their boss. Just be glad he wasn't called Richard. If you got that one, guys, I apologise if you explain to your kids later on. Off there to your right-hand side, time for some shameless promotion here, guys. That right there is the world's tallest cantilevered observation wheel. That is the lastminute.com London Eye. Standing at 135 metres tall, cantilevered because it's only supported on one side, all it's holding it up as those 2 metal beams going into the ground. An observation wheel because the glass pod runs outside of the structure, unlike a traditional Ferris wheel where it tends to be on the inside. We do not use the F word on board, guys. This is an observation wheel, not a Ferris wheel. You call it a Ferris wheel, I will throw you overboard myself. In 1994, the UK government put on a competition to find London's new landmark in time for the millennium, and the design for the London Eye was entered in that by Marks and Barfield Architects. The design came last place. Nobody liked it, except from British Airways, and at a cost of £85 million had it built here on the embankment. It should have only been here for 5 years. It opened officially on the 8th of March in the year 2000, but here we are almost 25 years later. Why did we keep it? Well, in its first 6 months of operation, British Airways made back that £85 million and more. I will not tell you how much money it makes nowadays. You've all seen the ticket price. Way above my pay grade. We're carrying on the south bank here, over on your right-hand side there, Royal Festival Hall, built in 1951 for the Festival of Britain. There was a big party that was put on here to unite a war-torn nation after the Second World War. It's now home to the London Philharmonic Orchestra. Next door you have the Queen Elizabeth Hall Purcell Room and the Hayward Galleries. All home to some beautiful theatres, but bizarrely, underneath it is the Undercroft, which is home to skateboarding. That's right, skateboarding originated here in Britain, not in America like most people think, and it started underneath the Queen. So the last building I'm talking about here, over here on your right-hand side, this building here with the pointy roof, it's now fancy hotels here in the city, 3 hotels inside. It used to be the Ministry of Defence, and that was until the Second World War. It was deemed no longer fit for purpose, so we moved next door to this building here, behind the tree line with all the flagpoles there. Now we call this building, the Ministry of Defence, the current one, the Iceberg. And that's because all you can see is just the tip, the 10 stories above ground and nothing compared to the 25 stories below ground. Home to war rooms, nuclear bunkers, tunnels that connect the House of Parliament, 10 Downing Street, to the Palace, to MI6, MI5, that's where all the important people go in the event of war. And I don't know, so technically, they're not a company, and that's how they get away with advertising here on the River Thames. Loopholes, guys, always look for them. Blackfriars, the only place in London with 2.5 bridges, named after the monasteries that used to be on the north side of the river. The friars, the monks used to walk around in black robes, hence the name Blackfriars. This is the oldest of the 2 bridges still standing, the Red Rose Bridge. And these mysterious red columns to the left and to the right are all that remains of the old St. Paul's Railway Bridge. But what happened to the bridge? I'll tell you on the way back. It's really exciting, I promise. Because now we're here in Bankside, and to your right hand side there you've got a 325-foot chimney attached to the old Bankside power station. We have two famous power stations here in the city, Bankside and Battersea. In the 1980s they produced far too much pollution, so we closed them down. But what do you do with such big buildings? Well, we turned Bankside into the Tate Modern, the world's largest free modern art gallery. Like all museums here in the city, it's free at the point of entry. If you like modern art, I highly recommend a visit. Any kids on board can colour in a picture, take it into the Tate Modern and have their artwork hung on the wall of the Tate Modern as well. And if you don't like modern art, don't worry, they've filtered you as well. You see those railings halfway up there? That's a cocktail bar. Believe me, that makes the modern art a lot more exciting, especially after the fourth or fifth drink. I don't remember leaving last time. Now on your right hand side again, that white Tudor looking building there, just behind the tree line. You may think it's the oldest building you'll see today. That was built in 1997. Probably not as old as you think. It's a perfect recreation of Sir William Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. Built in the same way as the original, American actor director Sam Wanamaker came to the UK in 1986 and realised it wasn't actually a monument to one of the greatest playwrights to ever come out of Britain. So they built this one in the same way as the original, so no power tools, it's all hand-carved oak, the only thatched roof you'll find here in the city. And that's because after the Great Fire, they decided to use a live cannon to recreate the sound of thunder and lightning. Now, I'm no expert, but a live cannon in a wooden theatre was never going to end well. Guess you could say Shakespeare's plays really did bring the house down, because they literally burnt the building down to the ground. Thankfully, that groan is going to get me through the rest of my career on this show, guys. Thank you. But the Great Fire in London, guys, back in September 1666. For 4 days and 4 nights, the fire so bad raged here in the city that we called it the Great Fire of London. It actually destroyed 80% of the city. Sir Christopher Wren, a very famous architect, rebuilt most of the city, and the first thing he built was a monument. Off to your left-hand side, stone column, golden orb in front of the skyscraper there. Monument to the Great Fire of London. The reason why he built that first was because he wanted a platform for Londoners to walk to the top to and see their city be rebuilt around them. You can still go to the top of Monument today, 311 steps up there, no escalators, no elevators. Believe me, it's the Monument to the Great Fire because your thighs will be burning by the time you get to the top. Now it doesn't actually look like it, but it's the world's tallest stone column. It only stands at 66 feet tall. One, because of the year of the Great Fire in London in 1666, and also if you were to lie it down, the tip of it would meet Pulling Lane, which is where the Great Fire in London actually started. But now, I know it's probably why you've joined us here on board today, to see the world's most famous bridge. That's right, San Francisco, we got it. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, everybody on board the lastminute.com London Eye River Cruise, the world's most famous bridge, London Bridge, is directly behind you. That glorious slab of concrete you've just gone underneath, that's London Bridge. Don't worry if Google gets it wrong. If you Google London Bridge, it'll bring up a picture of Tower Bridge. Clearly got it wrong in the 2006 classic. London Bridge, and she's still twerking away on Tower Bridge. Now the reason why it is so famous and so popular is because London Bridge was the original crossing point into what Rome is called Londonia 2,500 years ago. Now there were 6 versions of London Bridge, and I'll talk about them all shortly. But guys, I do like to take this opportunity in the cruise to remind everybody to remain seated for me. To remain seated for me. Fabulous. Hey, oh my goodness. Fabulous, guys. Tower Bridge, you need to sit down. You need to sit down. You know what? I love talking. So, guys, everybody stood up, ruining everybody else's day here on the river cruise. Can please take a seat for me? Thank you very much. But there it is, guys, in all its glory. Tower Bridge, built in 1894, probably not as old as you think. It's a vascular bridge taken from the French word for seesaw. That's because that centre span there opens up. Now it takes 61 seconds to do so, and in its heyday, it would have opened up more than 3,000 times every year. Nowadays, though, unfortunately, we barely get a rise a week out of it. But if you have a spare tool ship and some 24 hours, give them a call, they'll open it free of charge for you. Now, there is a sailor's tale that says you get away from somebody on Tower Bridge, you get 5 years good luck. And with the amount of people that stood up then, I need all the luck I can get, guys. Hello! Nice. Hi. But now, welcome to the Old Port of London. In its heyday, for more than 100 years, it was the busiest port in the world. So busy, you could walk from one side of the river across the decks of the merchant ships to the other. You wouldn't even get your toes wet. Nowadays, though, it is just high-end housing, unfortunately. Butler's Wharf here to your right-hand side. You can get a one-bedroom apartment in there for £1.5 million. But guys, turn your cameras to the left. It's time for the photo opportunity of the day. A selfie with me. No, sweet. Tower Bridge and the city behind it. Take as many pictures you want, but please remain seated. Post on social media, we love attention. Who doesn't love attention? All the appropriate hashtags. Hashtag London Eye River Cruise. Hashtag Tower Bridge, that London Bridge. Hashtag Get It Right Fergie. Hashtag Mark is the best tour guide in London. Gets you the most likes, I hear. The Tower Bridge, guys, one of my favourite stories is about a London bus driver back in the 1950s. Albert Gunther was completing his normal bus route around the city, Route 78. He used to take him directly across the bridge here. On a particularly foggy night, he did not see the stop sign telling him that the centre span was rising. When he realised his bus was going up, what did he do? Put his foot on the brake, reverse and wait? No, he did not. He put his foot on the accelerator, becoming the only London bus driver to complete what was the 12.5-foot jump between the centre spans. He landed safely on the other side, was awarded with an extra day off that week and a £300 payment. The story also goes that there was a couple getting married on the bus later that year. Guardians of the Galaxy films volume number 1, although transported to another planet, will recognise this bridge as being, you guessed it, destroyed. Nobody really knows why Hollywood keeps destroying our Millennium Bridge, but in its opening weekend, 160,000 Londoners crossed this bridge and noticed a rather severe wobble. The wobble was so bad that people had to be rescued from the bridge by the lifeguard and the fire brigade. They had to close it for 2 years. We had to have 98 earthquake dampers installed by NASA engineers, the space people, before the bridge was safe to reopen. Now, the original architect, a Northerner here in Britain, Norman Foster, was taken to a live TV interview and questioned over his very dodgy swaying bridge. And he said, no, it's not my fault, not my design, not my architecture, it's simply the way that Londoners walk. I don't know, but we should have called it the Blade of Light, but we simply call it the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge, which I think is more fun. Onto the right-hand side there, the dome of St. Paul's Cathedral, guys. 5th iteration of St. Paul's Cathedral.